Hello and welcome to this episode of Filmi Ladies. We are Pithu and Beth, and today's episode is a continuation of our female superstar series. What's interesting is that the lady that we're going to talk about today has something in common with the last person, the last superstar that we had spoken about, which was Sharmila Tagore. What's interesting is that both of them debuted in a Satyajit Ray movie, which honestly, if you're an actor, that sounds like a pretty good deal. Um, uh, Sharmila Tagore, of course, debuted in Devi, the 1960 Bengali movie, and this actress, Jaya Bhaduri, debuted in Mahanagar in 1963. It was quite a while before she did her Hindi debut, though, and that was in 1971 with Rishikesh Mukherjee's Guddi. Um, Depending on what year of her filmography you're watching a movie, you're going to see her credited as either Jaya Bhaduri or Jaya Bachchan because she married a certain someone called Amitabh Bachchan. Naam to suna hi hoga. But I wouldn't say I'm necessarily a big fan of this actor, but her filmography is pretty awesome. And she's done some pretty amazing roles in her very long and illustrious career. The movie I'm going to talk about today is actually Guddi, which I hadn't seen. So I was very excited to see it. And I actually do not know which movie Beth had chosen because it was under wraps. So, Beth, which movie of Jaya Bachchan's do you want to talk about today?
This is a bit of a saga, this journey of mine. So I wanted to watch something I had not already seen.
Same.
I wanted to watch. She is in an adaptation, a Hindi adaptation of one of my very favorite Bengali movies. I could not find it with subtitles. So I thought,
which one?
We'll save that for another day. I'll have to get back to you on that one. But the Bengali movie is Sat Pake Banda, which I absolutely love.
Oh, yeah, the one with Suchitra Sen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Then I thought, okay, I'll watch Abhimaan because everybody, raves about that. I got about 25 minutes in and I just could not with the whiny man baby.
Oh, he's terrible.
Of the lead. And I also felt like he was not selling the song in the beginning when they have him on stage. And that's not a thing I feel like I've ever experienced with him as a performer before. So I was super annoyed. So I turned it off. And someone, our friend Melanie, the Tiger Shroff scholar, said, oh, I just watched that. And also Anamika, I don't know how to pronounce it. Anamika. Maybe you would like that better. So I looked at the description and it starts out with like the famous misogynist, da 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 da. I was like, well, but then it sounded like it was a mystery and I could find that with subtitles. So that's what I landed on. But in terms of, and I know that's not one of her most impressive things, but she got some acting accolades for it and people seem to like it. So I thought I feel like
it's most known for its title song, which is very famous and has a very pouty Sanjeev Kumar in it and is one of my go-to songs when referencing the extremely embarrassing thing people do at filmy parties. In the films, of course. No one behaves like that in real life, Beth.
No, that's true.
At least no one I know.
I just feel like I did not choose wisely for this project and I left it until too late to make a better choice for myself. So to Jaya Bachchan, I apologize for that. That is not her fault. I have seen some of her other films, obviously, but yeah, we can get into that more.
Okay. So I'm actually surprised you haven't seen Abhimaan because she really is amazing in it. Amitabh is slappable, but that is also what his character is. Like he's so annoying in that movie.
And I, with the sort of atypical role for Bindu in particular, like that sounds right up my alley because I love Bindu, but I just couldn't deal with it the other day for whatever reason. I was like, nope, Beth out. So I'll try again someday.
Nice. So tell us a little bit about Anamika then, because I have not seen it except for that famous style.
Bizarrely, it starts very similarly to Abhimaan because we have a performing arts or an arts professional man whose secretary is played by Azrani, who is like kind of crabby and weird. But anyway, so that I was just like, wait, I just turned off this movie. What's going on? So in Anamika, Sanjeev Kumar, who is also not a favorite of mine, plays a
Did you add to your spreadsheet? Or the email list that you have?
Yes, my email list of other people who decide. I did email them and someone else said, why are you watching that? Um,
You were like, the sacrifices I make for the Filmi Ladies podcast.
the film opens with some kind of event where he's being lauded as a writer, and someone in the audience stands up and basically says, "Are you a woman hater?" And he's like, "Brr." And you're like, well, yeah, this is the person your friends warned you about. Like, this guy's awful. The only likable person in this entire movie is A.K. Hungel.
Oh,
This movie hates women, I'm pretty sure. It goes along so that after this event, on the way home, they basically almost run over Jaya with their car because she's like leapt from some other car or something. She just kind of like comes out of nowhere into the street. A.K. Hungel is like, oh no, she's really wounded. We should take her home with us. Like she's a puppy. And they take her home. She doesn't seem to know who she is or anything.
oh
And
no, amnesia.
when she wakes up, she thinks she's his wife. But
How
he,
does
of
one
course,
do that?
he hates women. So, like kind of comedy ensues, but not really. But then he goes on a search to try to figure out who she is. Iftikhar is there as a doctor. There's a police guy, like it's all these men talking about what
uncles.
a woman, all these uncles, including Sanjeev Kumar, who was born an uncle, right? All talking about what this woman should do and what her health should be and whatever. Meanwhile, they're not asking her anything, right? Like it's very mansplaining. And then we find out things about her that make her seem like maybe she's a con artist / opportunist gold digger. There's an absolutely phenomenal cabaret number by Helen in the song, which unfortunately depicts her getting sexually assaulted.
Oh gosh.
But otherwise it's a fantastic song, because I tweeted about it and I actually deleted my tweet. I'm like, oh, the picturization is, but you always want to watch a Helen song,
audio
right?
good, but video bad is what you're
audio
saying.
Great, R.D. Berman, audio great. Maybe don't watch the video, at least have in mind that you don't actually see that, like a guy drags her into a phone booth and then the door closes, but but it was kind of good until then, I felt. But she's wearing this amazing pink outfit and it's raining on the stage. So they're in a cabaret number, but it's raining in the cabaret, which is really cool. And Jaya and Sanjeev are in the audience and she's really into it, which is kind of fun. I love it when the women like the cabaret numbers, because usually the men are like, ooh, and the women are like, kind of annoyed and drumming their fingers on the table. But I like it. I mean, like, who would not be entertained by Helen in person in the rain inside a building somehow? Like, it's great. But then you find out, should I do spoilers for this film?
I don't think anyone is going to be watching this movie.
50
so
years
feel free.
ago, from the early 70s.
Free,
so then, everyone's all suspicious of her. And then it turns out that she was involved with Narendranath and then this other horrible guy. And then we find out that all sorts of horrible things happened to her, including she was forced to get married by her dying mother, who was like, you have to get married before I die, because otherwise I'll worry about you. That old thing. So she marries someone who's not all that suitable, but then he commits suicide. And then his brother is like super rapey and gross and is like, haha, you're mine now. And then she tries to
terrible.
It is. She tries to flee him. She ends up like in the big city and Helen kind of takes her in, but then Helen sends her to a hostel where working girls are. And Jaya's like, oh no, what kind of working girls are these? Oh no. And then the police raid it and she gets caught up in that, but then they find her innocent. And it's just like all this horrible stuff happens to her. But it does turn out that she did not really have amnesia. I mean, she maybe did for like the first 12 hours, but then when she saw where she was, she talks about how she had always loved this author's books and was in love with him because of his books. And so she just decided to pretend that she thought she was his wife because that's what she wanted. And then in the end, mostly Sanjeev Kumar fights off the bad rapey guy who comes back with like a big scar over his face that somehow she had like caused in trying to escape him. The scar makeup is pretty fun. And then the film just ends, but it is manipulative and horrible on all levels. So like, I feel bad for her because a ton of horrible things have happened to her in manner of like, let's just heap all the woes on women, but she's also a big old liar.
Right.
And an opportunist, she is running a con.
Anytime someone tells me anything to the effect of like the person is like a big fan of the author or whatever, and it always reminds me of the Stephen King story Misery. Like always, my brain immediately goes to like pigs and Kathy Bates and whatnot. So while you were talking, my brain was taking me off into like Stephen King land.
That would have made it a much better film. But like this movie, there's
Do you just want
something.
Sanjeev Kumar's character to be eaten by pigs?
I do. He's so awful in this film. Like it's not his fault. It's the writing, right? But this film is
Yeah.
fairly awful. I would pretty much call it an avoid yar, I think, except for maybe
I'm
that
sure.
Helen song.
Although maybe even that not.
But yeah, just know that the depiction is like, ugh.
Oh, but so when is that song though? Because it's pretty famous. I think the song is Anamika to be Tarse,
The one
right?
with him,
Like,
he's singing
yeah,
at a
in the
party.
party.
It's
Yeah.
towards the end, and that's when he's found out who she really is, and he's all like, I hate
Oh,
you.
it sounds very juvenile.
There's a really cute song actually between them.
Oh, is it Pallo Latke? With they're very stiff and cannot dance.
No, Aj Ki Raat Koi Ana Kohe.
Oh, yes, that is
And they're
sounding
like,
familiar.
and like she's flirting with him and trying to get him to flirt with her, and he won't really. And he's like, people will wake up, and it's really, really cute. I hope that's the right song. I
Wait,
think
do you
that's the
mean
right song.
Baho Mein Chale Aao?
Oh yes, I do. I'm so sorry. I
Oh,
got
Baho Mein
my
Chale,
songs
that one
mixed up.
is so good. That song is amazing.
That's
And I love
it's
the outfit she's wearing in it.
Yeah.
And I like the shushing. It's
Yeah,
so
the
cute. It's
shushing
in
is
this
really cute.
movie.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well,
Yeah.
that's like a good song
So
wasted on a
the
terrible
soundtrack
movie.
is good. Like there's
Mm.
nothing bad to say about Artie Berman at this time period, right?
Mhm.
Like this is amazing. But I will say about the Helen song, she appears to be fine. Because she
Okay.
gets up and dances with the sort of more hero of the song and everything, but I still think we're supposed to think she was assaulted in the phone booth,
Ew,
and
gross.
I don't like that. Because when
Yeah.
they open the phone booth door, she's like on the floor with her legs like shoved up against it's like very broken doll kind of look.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I have presented quite the stinker of a film. And more to the point of this particular podcast, it really highlights for me my sort of, I'm kind of neither here nor there about Jaya, I have to say.
Same.
I have maybe not seen the right films. I have seen Guddi. So I look forward to hearing what your thoughts on that. But I find her not masala enough to be fun in the masala films. And then these kind of middle cinema films, these Rishikesh Mukherjee films, I don't tend to like them very much because they're neither the fun of masala nor the like content of the art films.
Yeah.
With the like shocking, outrageous, amazing performance, outrageously fire performances of the art films, but neither do they have that like giddy glee of masala and stuff. So I'm kind of like, like middle of the road in a bad way for me.
Yeah.
I do like Chupki, but like that's
that's
kind
so
of
cute.
it really for me in terms of the ones of his films that I would really rewatch. So she to me kind of fits in that mold. Whereas like Shabana Azmi, for example, I feel like is fun in some of her masala films and is just obviously phenomenal in the other branch of films. And I feel like she's always bringing something really interesting to her roles that I've seen. Whereas Jaya, I just feel like is kind of, I'm going to say she's just there. She's more than that. But like, I just don't get what is special about what she's doing. But obviously I'm in a minority because she's highly awarded. I don't know what to say. I just don't get it.
I think the weird thing about Jaya, I mean, first of all, I'm not like some huge fan of hers. I just think she's such a big name that, we couldn't omit her from the Superstar series. And there really are some of her movies and performances that I love. Like Abhimaan would be absolutely my number one because she is breathtaking in it. I mean, in some ways, Amitabh being so god awful is actually great because it makes you very, very angry on her behalf. And she's spectacular in that movie. She's not a fan, but I love her in Abhimaan.
I mean, the thing is, I'm already mad at him on her behalf for just life in general, because we should get into this, I suppose. This isn't about her acting, but like her public persona of like Grumpy Grumperson is so funny, but also, I mean, I can't blame her because I think being married to him would be absolute hell. I really do. Even if there were no rumors about affairs with other people, right? Like, no, thank you. It would be awful. So I do feel for her in a way, although she also stayed. So like at a certain point, it's like, well,
right.
So I don't know. She's pretty hard to get my head around as a celebrity. And I have not found the hook for her as an actor particularly. So But I do think when you look at her filmography, like obviously, especially there's like those 3 or 4 years, which just bam, 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 all these amazing, amazing performances that people really respond to. Like
And she was a much
clearly,
bigger star than Amitabh.
yeah, clearly she really is doing something that people respond to in an era of films that I like. So I need to just
Yeah.
keep educating myself. And that doesn't mean I'm going to like her necessarily, but at least I'll know better than I do right now.
I'd say the 3 Jaya Bachchan movies that I've been impressed by, where I thought she was really impressive, were Abhimaan, Koshish, and Kora Kagaz. And Koshish actually is an amazing movie. I mean, if you have not seen it, you should. It does star Sanjeev Kumar. So after this recent Jaya and Sanjeev Kumar jaunt, you may be a little bit annoyed. I believe it's by Gulzar, but the movie is so good.
That Kora Kagaz is the one that's the remake of the Bengali film that I really, really like.
Oh, I've seen that one.
Okay.
I've seen Kora Kagaz. Here's the funny thing. My exposure to Jaya Bachchan was during those 2 hours that I've spoken about, where NFDC used to show those like 2 to 4, like in the siesta hour. That is when I saw all of these films, right? Mm-hmm. So I saw Abhimaan during that time frame. Koshish and Kora Kagaz are such like hardcore 2 to 4 p.m. Doordarshan programming. And that's when I saw them. And Kora Kagaz is kind of depressing, to be honest. And I've not seen the original South Pakibantha, but I thought she was really good in it. And Koshish is really good. Like Koshish is like powerful to the point that I would not watch that movie again. It's So she and Sanjeev Kumar both play people who are deaf and mute, and it's just like how they find each other and their romance and their marriage and stuff like that. And there's a really powerful scene in it that made such an impact on me when I watched it for the first time. So they have a little baby, and the baby is very cute, blah blah blah, and by the looks of it, the baby is, perfectly like abled and everything like that. You don't think that the baby is also genetically like deaf like they are. But there's a scene where, and they're not very rich, they're kind of lower middle class. And there's a little rattle that they've bought for the baby. And they're playing with the little rattle, and the baby will not respond to the rattle. The way that Sanjeev Kumar and Jaya Bachchan have acted in that scene, where you just see them, at first they're perplexed, then they're surprised, and then it's sheer panic because they're like, this is a rattle. Why is this child not responding to this rattle? And they immediately want to get medical advice. And as the audience, you're just like, oh my God, like, what is happening? And you discover that it was just like a faulty rattle. It was just like a little toy that didn't have the thing in it. The baby is actually perfectly able to hear. And then the relief when they realize that. It has some of the most effective acting I've seen in Hindi cinema. Again, not a movie that I would like randomly watch when I've come home from work and I'm looking for a comfort watch or something. And, not exactly one of those, but really moving in a lot of ways. So I would say Koshish, Kora Kagaz, and Abhimaan, those 3 are kind of like essential Jaya Bachchan viewing for me. And Abhimaan, I think you should give it another chance when you're not tired, with the understanding that you're going to hate Amitabh in it. So you're going to hate Amitabh in Abhimaan, and you're going to hate Amitabh in another movie I really like, which I spoke about in the Nutan episode, which is Saudagar.
Right.
So as long as you understand that, and you're forewarned is forearmed, and then you can go ahead and you can soldier on, Beth. But like, don't deprive yourself of a good Jaya Bachchan, performance because of Amitabh. Because Abhimaan is based on A Star Is Born, which is a wonderful movie. I love the Barbara Streisand, Christopherson film. I also like the Lady Gaga version, not as much though. But yeah, so I get what you're saying. And I was actually reading an article about Jaya Bachchan, and it said that one of the reasons that she became so famous and was able to sort of rise above the pack is because she doesn't look like a typical heroine. And she actually doesn't fit into either of those molds that you just mentioned. So if you're like a typical heroine, like Sharmila Tagore, who we spoke about in the previous episode, you have the bouffant, you have the cat eyeliner, the makeup, the glamour, the tight clothes, the cleavage, like, you have like the sexiness that the masala heroes, Zeenat Aman, Parveen Babi, they're all oozing glamour. Jaya has none of that. She would look dreadful in like a sequined jumpsuit singing Javani Janiman or something. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, that's hard to imagine.
That is very difficult, right? Nevertheless, I have put that image in your head. So kudos to me. And then you have like the hardcore art film. It's also difficult to imagine her wearing like a tribal person or a village person's outfit and performing
Mm,
like Smita Patil did in Mirch Masala. You can't imagine Jaya
mm,
Bachchan throwing all the red chilies in Nasir's face like Smita did. She doesn't have that fire either.
mm.
So she's very bourgeoisie. She's very middle class, educated, not this, not that. It's kind of like a Goldilocks thing, and that's apparently what helped her get ahead in the film industry. Because if you were tired of the Sharmilas and Zenats and Parveens and all of those and the Rekhas and whatnot, and if you're not interested in the art scene with the Smitas and the Shabanas and all of those, then here was Jaya Bachchan, who could play the girl next door, and she could play your best friend and your sister. She was more relatable, I think. And that's, I think, what was sort of made her popular. And I think that's also why she did so many like these Rishikesh Mukherjee
Sure,
type of films,
sure.
because like that director and this actress, they just kind of go together,
Yeah.
you
And
know?
I do want to be clear. I think it's great that those films exist. Like, I think it's important to have
Mm,
different types of films for different audiences at
yeah,
different
for sure.
moods, right? I have not tend to resonated. Sorry, I cannot word today. I have not resonated with these films or vice versa
Right.
much that I have seen so far. It is interesting to me that I do think she's very good in Mahanagar.
Mm.
Her role is not big, but I think she's good there. And I wish she would have stayed in the Bengali film.
I don't
Like,
think she's done very many.
no, I don't think so. And I wonder if I
I
might
can't
like
think of,
her
I don't think she's
more
done very
there.
many. But if the Fury roles were being done by Suchitra, then what would have been left for her though? Because I
Yeah,
think that's the thing too, right? Like you need to find your niche,
sure, sure.
and you can't be like a susty copy of someone else. So then you need to
Yeah,
like carve out your own sort of, like she can't do the avenging angel roles. But for people who love Jaya, they really love Jaya, because it's kind of true. There's very few people who can do what Jaya did. You can't. The actresses that remind me a little bit of her but achieved nowhere close to her level of success are sort of like Deepti Naval, Zarina Wahab. um, it's sort of those middle of the road actresses that, but I think she had far more talent than they did in more acting chops, and so I think she sort of rose to the top of the pack or whatever. But anyway, the movie I watched was Guddi. I enjoyed it greatly.
yeah.
I'm surprised I have never seen Guddi,
I am too. Yeah.
because it is easily the most enjoyable Jaya Bachchan movie I have ever seen, I have to say. It was a lot of fun, and the premise was right up my alley. The idea that there's this young girl who is such a gigantic film buff, and she's a huge Dharmendra fan. I was like, I know so many Shah Rukh Khan fans who can relate to this, because, most of us became Shah Rukh Khan fans when we were like really young, like preteen. And so I just thought it was very cute. It was so smart and sassy
Mm,
and witty without being mean, which I feel like is a very Rishikesh Mukherjee thing to be. Like
yes.
if you look at even Chupke Chupke, it's like he's witty and he's
Mhm.
poking fun at you, especially through Utpal Dutt, but he's not being mean. And he's kind of laughing at you, yeah, but he's also kind of encouraging you
Mhm.
to laugh with him, which I think is sweet. It's kind of like
Mhm.
a sweet kind of a sarcasm. Dharmendra looks like
Yeah, he
$1,000,000.
does.
The amount of screenshots I took, I was like, oh, this picture and this picture and this picture. He looks absolutely gorgeous in his like jumpers and his sunglasses, and he's just like so cute. And there's so many amazing cameos in this film.
Yes, yes.
Oh, look, there's Shatrughan Sinha. Oh, wait, there's Amitabh Bachchan. Oh, wait, that's Rajesh Khanna. It's so strange to me. I was like, what is going on? It felt a little like those Farah Khan movies where it's like
Yeah.
she just populates the song or whatever with all of these people that she can rope in. So I really enjoyed that. I actually really liked Jaya Bachchan's acting in it, because she was like spunky, sassy, feisty. Like from the first scene where she's like, running late for the school assembly, she was just hysterical. And I think I can't really think of anyone else who could have pulled it off, because she
Mm,
was, do you know she was 23 years old when she did
yeah.
Guddi?
Yeah.
She does not look like a 23. I
No.
completely bought her as like, a 14 or 15-year-old girl, but she was amazing in it. And it actually made me think. I immediately went on our Google Docs and I added another category, which I was like, we should do an episode on movies which are about the film industry.
Oh, sure.
Like you have Luck by Chance and you have Om Shanti Om. And then I was like, Goodie's a really good one too, because there's those interesting scenes in it where it's like, there's all the superstars and they have all this like wealth and adulation and fame and all these things. And then they show that one guy who's like a spot boy or something, and he collapses on set, and someone is like, what happened? And they're like, well, he's really sick. And they're like, well, then why did he come to work if he's so sick? And they're like, well, he needs to earn a living. And it's so heartbreaking. And I love how through Guddi, the director basically shows us, the audience, like, sort of like the realities of the film industry and how it's a business. And then they show you that set that's like, not set, the studio that's completely destroyed. And they're like, this is where this movie was shot. And I just thought that that was like interesting. But the movie was very cute. She's very cute. Dharmendra is just like, gobsmackingly handsome. I was googly-eyed every time he came. I was like, and Dharmendra is not my jam. My jam is Sunny Paji, his son. But I was like, okay.
But I mean, like,
okay, Dale Senior, I get it.
Yeah, like if you're attracted to men, like it's somewhere in the Dharmendra world, there's something for you.
Yes. He's just so gorgeous in this movie. Yeah. I think the only other film I've seen of his where he is just like gobsmackingly beautiful is this movie Anupama that stars Sharmila Tagore.
Yeah.
It's black and white. He's so handsome in that. He's also very handsome in Satyakam. Okay, this is a Jaya Bachchan episode. Why are we talking about how handsome he is?
Because we always are talking about the deals on this show. No matter what we try to do, they come. Yes. However, we have moved past the Dev Anand phase for our superstar women. So he is no longer stuck like gum on the shoe of who we're talking about.
No. Chronologically, Beth, we still have to do a Zeenat Aman episode and a Parveen Babi episode. That means you ain't seen the last of him yet. He's like a bad penny. He just keeps coming. A flamboyant.
They're going to get worse and worse. Penny. Like so far, he's been enjoyable, right? But now we're getting into the like, ooh.
Yes. What is that movie of his with Zeenat Aman? It's so annoying. It's Hira Panna. And there's that song, Main Tasveer Utarta Hoon, where she's like a model and he's with the camera and he's like, Main Tasveer Utarta Hoon. And he's so awful. I used to watch that song just to laugh at him. We will have to rewatch that song before we do an episode. Should we do a Devanand episode?
Yes. At some point.
Really? Sure. That was a bluff. I was trying to shock you. I just wanted you to be like, no. And then you were like,
I don't dislike him. So I would do it for sure. He's another person I need to learn more about. So, he
apparently has an autobiography or a biography.
Yes, he sure does.
I've not read it. Have you?
No, but when it came out, like it was big in the blogosphere back in the day and everyone was, like, some of the stuff that he talks about.
Maybe we should read it because I really enjoyed reading Kolam Kola and doing an episode
isn't it like
on
this
it.
big? I feel like it's huge. I don't remember. Maybe
we'll
I'm wrong
have to
about
like
that,
when he gets into paragraphs upon paragraphs about how he's evergreen and gorgeous, we could just like skip them. Where is the abridged version?
Just read maybe you read one half and I'll read one half.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll like divide and conquer and just like exchange notes. Okay, we're going off topic.
Way off topic.
So off topic. Is there any, so of the Jaya Bachchan movies you have seen, is there any you have liked?
I mean, I like Guddi. I think that she is not the problem with the movies that I have seen, right?
Yeah.
And she's pretty adorable in Chupki Chupki. Everybody's adorable in Chupki Chupki, right? Like that's a real cromulent little film that is quite delightful. But her like sourpuss mother era has been long.
It has been very long.
As have many people's. That's not unique to her, but like I think actually upon you asking me that, I feel like I did appreciate her more in K3G when when I rewatched it for our podcast a couple months ago than I had before. But like in Drona, in Kalanoho,
Hmm.
in Laga Chunari Mein
So
Dog,
many,
which is actually
yeah.
a film that
Dog.
I know Dog. A lot of people hate that film. I don't hate it at all, but like she's, like that kind of like weepy, grumpy, put
She
upon
was
mother thing, like
also in Fizza.
right. And like it would be great if people would stop writing that role, obviously, but
Yeah.
there's so many people who could do it. I don't know why she seems to feel like she has to do it so often. But did you come see the Bachchan stage show in Chicago that
Yeah,
one time?
I
Yeah. So
did.
do you remember her coming out and like trying to talk about the environment or something? And like everyone's like having fun on stage and whatever. And then she's like, "Blah, blah, blah, blah," like grumpy, grumpy, grumperson. It was
Oh,
such
were
a
you
downer.
there the same night that me and Christy? Because me and Christy went
Oh,
together, but
maybe
we didn't.
not. Maybe it was a different night.
Okay, yeah, because Christy and I had gone together for
Okay.
that show. Okay.
But yeah, so I don't know anything about her as a politician or anything, but yeah, we'll
Yeah.
keep it to the film world. But I haven't seen a good representative sampling of her career, really. I don't think. Like I feel like I'm pretty covered for the like post-marriage,
Oh,
post,
yeah.
early mom years, like when she becomes
Yeah.
the grandma or the ma of the hero or whatever. I feel like I've got that represented well enough. But and in those roles, I don't think she's doing anything that anyone else couldn't have also done.
Right.
And part of the joy of watching someone in a role like that is you're like, oh, I loved them when they were younger. It's nice to see them again, where I
Yeah.
don't have that with her. So clearly I need to watch Abhimaan and a few of these other earlier films. And
Koshish, I would
maybe I
say.
need to get past my Sanjeev Kumar issues as well for her sake.
Yes.
Or find some of the ones that don't have her
They
in
seem
them.
to have been a pair because they were paired. Well, they weren't paired together, but they were in Silsila as well.
Oh, right. And of course I've seen
Oh,
Silsila.
yeah, we've seen Silsila as well.
I
I liked her in Silsila, actually.
yeah, yeah, she's certainly fine.
She had a
Um,
difficult role, I feel
yeah,
like.
yeah,
It was very difficult, as opposed to Rekha's like extremely enjoyable role to play. Like Rekha just had a very easy part in comparison. All the sympathies are with her. She gets to be beautiful and glamorous and, all of these things. And then Jaya Bachchan gets to be this person that no one is rooting for. It's a hard role.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. Um, I will say, I definitely bought her with Sanjeev Kumar. Like they seem to have a nice little chemistry going in this film that I just watched, even though I'm not a fan of his. I feel like there was something that was working well about them. And maybe he also brings that sort of middle of the road.
yeah.
Obviously that's one of his main wheelhouse, I would say, right? So
Mhm.
putting them together, even when they're in a more masala-y film, like the two of them kind of found their groove together.
Yeah.
And I
Oh
did
yeah, like
buy
when you
that.
watch Silsila, like when you're watching that holy song Rang Barse, you look at Amitabh and Rekha, and I mean, don't mean to flog a dead horse, but they look good together.
Yeah,
Just in terms of like their physicality, their personality, they're both tall and like skinny, like just the way they're built, and they're slightly over the top personalities and everything. And then you have these two much more like staid people, for lack of a better word, and
yeah,
you can see how they're not the ones dancing, they're not the ones doing the tomfoolery. He's just playing the tabla or whatever that instrument is, and she's just like sitting around and too shy to dance. And you can see how these two couples sort of gravitate towards each other, even though they're technically not couples with each other. Like Sanjeev Kumar is just Jaya Bachchan's doctor or something. Well, not her doctor, but a doctor.
yeah,
But yeah, you're right. But I feel like it's kind of like, water finds its own, whatever they call it.
yeah, its own
It's
level or
like,
whatever. Yeah,
yeah, or like peas in a pod. It's kind of like you have the Rishikesh Mukherjee sensibility, then you add Jaya Bachchan to it, then you bring Sanjeev Kumar into it, and it just kind of makes sense in a way that a lot of other things might not. Apparently, there is a fun movie of hers, which a few people like, which I have not seen, called Millie. But then she dies in it, so that's why I didn't see it.
Millie. Yeah, that's cute enough. Yeah,
Oh, I haven't seen it.
yeah. I think I'm thinking of the right movie.
It's the one that has that
Wrong with
song
me.
"Maine Kaha Phoolon Se" to all those
Yeah,
kids. I think
yeah.
she's
Millie
dying of
is.
cancer or
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah. That's right.
Okay.
It's a little manic pixie dream girl, as I recall.
It seems like it
which is,
from the songs.
I have real issues with that particular trope. Like, that is not a formula I want to spend any time with. However, I do feel like it is pretty cute, if I recall.
Okay.
Yeah, so like cute young and cute, like, yeah, girl next door kind of, no threatening sexuality coming off of her, right? In these roles, like,
and like a very
safe.
good girl vibe.
Oh yeah.
Like plays by the rules, and
so I am glad that that's a thing that is depicted and that people respond to that, because that is who most of us are, right? Like, that's more, that's a thing to bring into reality in a way that can be useful. But I just clearly need to educate myself some more about her and some of these roles. What do you think, so who would you say are her main? Is there anyone else that you feel is really a contemporary to her in terms of being the queen of the middle cinema kind of things?
No, because that's the thing. Like, the other middle of the other people who were doing these kind of things were people who didn't get too far in their career. Like, you had Zarina Wahab, who had done, what is that movie, Chitchor, with the Rajashrees, which was the original of, I think, Hum Aapke Kaun or something. And then so you had these actresses who were kind of, then there was that other Rajashri heroine whose name I never remember, but she had done a movie around that time. I think she was in that movie, Dulhan Wahi Jo Piya Man Bhai. I can't remember her name. It'll come to me. So there were a few actresses like that. And then once you get into the late 70s, early 80s, then you have Deepti Naval. So you started seeing, but in some ways, I feel like Jaya was kind of the first one who did that. Because here's the thing, I think until Jaya, if you looked like Jaya and if you had Jaya's demeanor and sensibility and personality, you were slotted into the sister role.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
You became the sister. And if you like look at Farida Jalal, right? Like, that's kind of what Jaya Bachchan is. So I find it amazing that she actually managed to make a career for herself when it's just interesting to me, because I feel like anyone else who looked like her and behaved like her immediately got slotted as the younger sister. And it seems like she was on the track for that, because if you look at movies like Mahanagar, or if you look at Guddi or Millie, all of those are films where she's kind of like this young, sprightly creature, but she's not going to be the heroine, because you can't have her doing like a cute dance in the rain like Mumtaz or someone. She doesn't have the sex appeal or the glamour for it, but then you're going to make her the younger sister. So the fact that she actually became like a heroine is surprising to me. And I think her looks may actually have played in her favor, because if you look at, like, when I was looking at the list of the 70s actresses that we had, to schedule our superstar series, everybody is like a looker. And they're all glamorous. You have Zeenat Aman, you have, Parveen Babi, you have Rekha. They're all these very like filmy ladies. They're all filmy ladies. I mean, then later on you get like Dimple Kapadia and all, but they're all like 10 on 10 and just very like feisty and spunky and sexy, and they look great in sequins, and they can do like a romantic song, but then they can also do this, and it's kind of, and then you have Jaya Bachchan and she's in these like handloom cotton saris, and her hair is in a braid, and it's not even tightly braided, and like her makeup is so simple. And I think if that was a strategy that she came up with, then I think she was very smart. And if that was not a strategy, and if she was like, this is how I look, this is what I'm gonna do, deal with it, then I think she was very lucky. But that's kind of she kind of stands out in a sea of flamingos or swans, as being this very non-swanish person. I was going to say duck, but then I realized it sounded mean.
Yeah, because she is
not that I have nothing
unpretty,
against
obviously. Like,
no, but
lovely.
I'm talking about like the glamour aspect of it.
She's
like she doesn't have that. So I think,
and it is important to make room for other versions of what women can be, right? So even just on that front, it does seem kind of like a pretty major step forward in terms of some representations.
But see, this is somewhere a place where I think Sharmila Tagore and also Asha Parekh succeeded, where if you look at them, they're so glamorous and amazing. They like Asha Parekh's dances are so fantastic and so amazing. But then Sharmila also did movies like Aradhna and like Amar Prince, she was still glamorous kind of, but like Aradhna and, movies like that, which are a little bit weepy, and she's like a widow and she's wearing like white the entire time and her hair is simple and she still has a bouffant because it's Sharmila Tagore, but it's like,
calm down.
It's like a calmed down, it's like a bouffant Valium. It's a bouffant that woke up from a nap. And then you have Asha Parekh, and then you've seen Asha Parekh's like very non-glamorous turn in movies like Kati Patang or whatever. So, I mean, I feel like these ladies have versatility, which maybe Jaya Bachchan doesn't. And maybe that's the other thing that for us, it's kind of like, well, you're not giving us anything else though. So it's kind of like, this is the flavor.
Yeah.
And if you like it, awesome. But there's no other flavor.
Right. She's not masala.
She's not masala at all. Whereas with Sharmila, you get to pick and choose. You can be like, I want this flavor where she's a cabaret person doing zubi zubi, or I want this one where she's a weepy widow. And you can choose your own speed. What a terrible.
Or you want the, like the hard-hitting film about journalism. You want her as, as a supportive figure in that, or the investigative, or the magazine columnist in Nayak or whatever. So,
right.
Yeah.
So I think that's it. Let's talk a little bit about her like public persona, because, oh my God, all of these like TikTokers and influencers and everyone, they are making a killing mimicking the way she speaks with the paparazzi.
Oh, that's funny.
I'll send you some. They're really good.
She just, in my limited consumption of such content, she either has no interest or is just not adept at this.
Right. She just comes across as very grumpy all the time, very angry. She's grumpy camel in real life.
And again, fair enough. This is not what you signed up for when you,
debuted in 1961
right,
or
exactly.
whatever.
So I do feel for her. A lot of the attention she gets is not because of herself, obviously, which must be frustrating to no end, even if just because you're tired. But I just, she is kind of as far as I know, she's a bit of an anomaly in terms of her public persona, right? Like this grumpy camel, #grumpy camel. And for those who are listening, if you haven't seen our Paheli episode, that's what we're referring to as the camel in Paheli. We are not calling Jaya Bachchan a camel in any way.
No, I am the camel. This is about me. This is not, I'm the camel.
We are all grumpy camels sometimes. So yeah, she's kind of interesting that way. And you wonder, is she just exhausted? Like,
she just seems kind of like badly behaved to me, especially in contrast with the rest of the Bachchan family. Like, when you see her with Aishwarya, for instance, Aishwarya is such a professional. She's always, I'm sure she does not enjoy having people following her around and taking 100 million pics, since that woman has not known the meaning of the word privacy since she became a model. Seriously. At age 16. Yeah. But I love the way that she will always have like a smile and a nod for someone, and she'll move on and do whatever she's doing. But she doesn't, you never see Aishwarya lashing out at people. There's literally videos. There's a video that became very popular a few years ago where all the Bachchans one by one are going somewhere. I think it was like a film premiere or party or something. So it's like first Amitabh, then whoever. And the Paps obviously want to take pictures of Aishwarya because she's like the most photogenic. She's the most successful and popular one. And I mean, at this time compared to Amitabh, and people are like, I like it now. And I mean, I would much rather, I went to the Bachchan show for Aishwarya. I want to confirm that was the Bachchan I was interested in. I did not go for anyone else. So there were these people and they was like, Ash, look here, Ash, look here. And she's so sweet. She stops and she waves and smiles and moves on. It takes 2 seconds, just do it and get it out of the way. And Jaya Bachchan loses her shit. And she goes up to the Paps and she starts saying, why are you calling her Ash? Is she your classmate? Did you go to school with her? Call her by her name. Her name is Aishwarya Bachchan. And meanwhile, Aishwarya is like, hey, let's go. And she's trying to steer her away. And you can hear the paparazzi gossiping amongst themselves. They're like, what's her problem? We don't even want to take your picture. We want to take Aishwarya's picture. But that's what I mean. It's like, what is your problem if people call her Ash or whatever? Like, she comes across as difficult. I don't know. I just think she's like a difficult person. And I think weirdly, it sort of it's kept this whole like presumed Jaya Rekha rivalry going all these years, because Rekha's public persona is the exact opposite.
Yeah.
She's like a sweetheart to everyone. She always waves and chats when the paps catch her. Like if she's at the airport and she's running to catch a flight, she's goofy and funny, and she'll be like, "Ek hi photo milegi, plane chhoot jayega." You know, she'll give like 2-3 pictures, and she'll laugh and she'll run off. And it's like, well, you're the same age, and she doesn't seem grumpy all the time. So this is funny. So my best friend Natasha and I were chatting about this one time where I was like, "Did you watch the latest like Jaya Bachchan mimicry, whatever?" And then I was like, "I don't understand. Like Rekha is so much more affable and likable and all of these things. I would rather bump into Rekha in public. I'm not interested in bumping into Jaya, right?" And I was like, "Why are they so different?" And then Natasha, my friend, who is a married working mother of 2 children, goes, "You know why Rekha is happy? Because she's single. She's not married. She doesn't have 2 children. Jaya is miserable because she's married and she has 2 children. That is the truth." And I was like, okay.
Oh.
So maybe that's the reason. Maybe it's like having a husband like Amitabh, and then
It can't have been easy.
No.
And then, you know, I know absolutely nothing about her as a politician, but choosing to do that is another really weird. If you are tired of the press and stuff like that, well, then.
Yeah.
Like,
for a person who doesn't like the public eye, she's chosen 2 very public jobs.
Yeah. So
Karen Kher is another one who is an actress and also a politician. She's also Rajya Sabha MP, as is Jaya Bachchan, but again, seems a lot more cheerful.
And her husband can't be easy to be married to, so it's not
No.
that.
So I don't know what it is, but like some of the secret sauce. But I don't know. We'll just have to wait for Jaya Bachchan's tell-all Grumpy Camel autobiography.
Oh
won't
gosh.
we?
Oh gosh.
There will be a lot of lectures in it. She must be terrifying.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
One of the funnest Jaya Bachchan anecdotes I've ever heard of was that, you know, that Amitabh Bachchan song, it's really icky and gross, Mere Angane Mein Tumhara Kya Naam Hai, where he's in drag the whole time.
Oh yeah.
He pretends to be like different wives or whatever.
Yes.
Apparently, when she saw that song in the movie theater at his film premiere, I think it was in the movie Lavaris, if I'm not mistaken.
So, yeah.
She was so offended by it, she walked out of the movie theater.
Well, points to that grumpy camel, because I take her, I don't disagree.
She was like, "Avoid yar."
Avoid yar.
Maybe we'll show her our Avoid Yar episode. Maybe she'll like
She'll just walk around like this to the press. That'll go great.
That is just her. That is just her in one emoji. Okay. Do you have anything else to add? Are there any Jaya Bachchan films you have been inspired to watch because of me nagging you?
I'm going to try to get, Koshish is on Einthusan with subtitles.
Oh, perfect.
And so is Abhimaan. So I'll try to watch those. If I can find Kora Kagaz with subtitles, I will watch it immediately, because I'm
sure that would be on Einthusan, no?
It's there, but no subs.
And
I
at
would
least
watch
if you
it
know
anyway.
the story of Saat Paake Bandha,
I know the story really well.
You'll follow along.
That is just really absolutely one of my favorite Bengali films. I don't know why I didn't talk about it on our Suchitra Sen episode, but because there's so many of hers that I love.
Yeah.
But I would like to see those. And I clearly just need to try a few more. And again, no guarantee that will be for me, but that's okay.
And if she's not for you, she's not for you. It's okay.
Fine. And hearing you talk about her, I am impressed that that she created this path,
a space for herself.
Yeah. And that other people were supportive of creating roles that work for this, and that audience found things that they liked. So I think that is great. That is great. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a little bit of a mini version of some of what's happened with streaming, right? So that's wonderful that she could do that. And there could be yet another version of what women in films can be like. And I'm all for that. So good for her.
Okay. Very cool. So that was it for our superstar episode on Jaya Bachchan. If you have any thoughts and comments, if you think that there are some movies that Beth and I should see, or if you think that we have done some disservice to Jaya and you want to yell at us and admonish us like she does, then go ahead. Um, we'll just pretend you're grumpy camels. That's fine. And let us know what your favorite Jaya Bachchan roles are and what movies you think that people should see.
Mhm.
And we will see you next week on another episode of Filmi Ladies. Bye.
Bye.